Welcome back for a Dadam Reacts. I'm gonna do it. I watched this because I knew it wasn't real, but it was actually so good that it actually if they made this movie, I would be so in for it. Um, but it's Tom Holland in Back to the Future 4. We're just gonna watch it because it's so incredible. Everyone's saying it's AI generated. So whoever made it did really good. It's all scenes from Spider-Man. Hill Valley, my school.
Dad, I found the Doc's diary.
If time travel were possible, what would you do? What would you change? What if not only the past changes, but also the future?
I have to save you, Dad.
The face swap on it is good.
Whoa, this is heavy.
He could play a young Michael J.
I
Fox.
may not have a future myself.
Great Scott!
Oh God, there's flying cars here. I knew it.
Alright, it's dumb, it's stupid, it's not real. But if it was, it would be so cool. And they gotta do it soon, right? Like, if they're gonna do it, man, Christopher Lloyd's getting so old. Michael J. Fox, he does act once in a while, but I know it takes so much out of him when he has to act, because I don't know if he goes on his medication or goes off of it for acting to try and counteract the shaking and the deeper parts of the Parkinson's that make him have uncontrollable movements. I think he would do it. I honestly think if they had a really good script, I think Mike would be in. I think he'd be down for it. And I don't even know if you'd have to convince Christopher Lloyd. If he knew Michael was coming back for it, they did a thing a couple years ago where they got on stage together, and the love they had was just so incredible for each other. It was really beautiful to see. Um, so if Michael said yes, dude, Lloyd would just be involved in an instant. He would just be like, you don't even need. I'm sure that he'd want to be paid, but I don't even think he would need to be paid to star in another movie with Michael. Um, but yeah, I don't know. No one knows how long he can continue acting if the disease was ever to progress, or get to the point where he didn't feel comfortable being on camera anymore. And he does so well in those scenes. But I remember watching an interview where he talked about just acting, because he did the show where it was about him and his family living with him with Parkinson's, and he said the scenes they filmed, he was so exhausted by the end of the day, like it really tore him down. And I hate to hear that he had to struggle to do those scenes. Um, but this is cool. I mean, a cool what if, right? And sometimes what ifs are just as good as the real thing. Um, and yeah, Tom Holland, I think he would do such a good job, and Tom would be so down for the cause too. I feel like he would just jump at an opportunity to play a young Marty McFly that goes back into the past. Um, the only thing I didn't like about the trailer is it almost implies like he's going back into the past to prevent the disease or something. I don't know. Like, it's such a weird scenario. And I think that's because I remember they were talking about it, and I don't know if Steven was involved or how that process was going, but I think what would be cool is if they did a four and it wasn't Marty going back in the past, it's Marty's son, and Marty's son going in the past to try and change something, and the movie being about sometimes you can't change the past, or sometimes the things that happen in life you can't change, And that would be in reference to like them saying Marty was diagnosed with Parkinson and like having it mirror Michael's real life and having that be a thing where like that would be a really powerful scene to have his son go back for some reason and he just can't prevent what was happening, and to have Michael say sometimes things in life happen and you can't change them, and it's not about changing the past, it's about living for the future. And I think that'd just be such a real beautiful moment because I think that's the greatest story and why Michael J. Fox is such a hero and why I respect him so much is the things he's done since being diagnosed and since the progression of the disease really debilitating his ability to do the things he wanted to do in life, and finding out how long he hid the symptoms and all those other things is crazy. Because I think, if I remember correctly, like almost all the way back to Teen Wolf, he was having symptoms and he was starting to, and he was like, he was hiding it from everyone, which is crazy, right? And that just like, it just makes, you know, like Chadwick Bos, what he went through with cancer and how sick he was while he was filming Black Panther, how sick he was when he was filming all those things where like he was running in and out of treatment in between, takes essentially. That's nuts. And how many people didn't know and why like he just embodies T'Challa, and it's almost the point where like he's such a more inspirational hero than T'Challa could ever be because the things he did in life, and it's always going to be a like it's crazy. And I think Michael J. Fox really embodies that as well, the things he struggled with and fought and persevered through, just his indomitable nature and spirit. I love that. He's one of the few people I wish I had met when I was in California working. He was filming in New York and Chicago and a bunch of other places. So I like paths would never cross. I would have really have wanted to meet him. Um, because to me he's a real inspirational person. Um, like yeah, but yeah, if this was real, that would be awesome. um, I'd be so I'd be there day one. Day one. I used to own a fake pair. They were a fake pair of like Nike like Yeezys. Like they looked so stupid, but they looked exactly like the shoes from 2 with the silver and the red. And oh my god, I wore them forever, and they were my fake Back to the Future shoes, and I loved them. And when they got ruined, I just died. A piece of my soul broke because I never found them again. I bought them from a store called Beals, where it's like an overrun store where they like get misprinted clothing lines, like name brand clothing lines, like the Nike, the swoosh will be off, so they can't sell them in market, so they'll sell them in Beals, or there's something wrong with the stitching. But I found those there, and they didn't. They were like unlabeled, so they could have been a real pair of Nikes that just got like blown out, and my eyes itch because the cat was rubbing her tail at me. I need to go wash my eyes out. Or I'm just crying thinking about Michael J. Fox. You decide. But um, I love those shoes so much. uh man. But drop a like, subscribe. I just wanted to do a fun one because we did a bunch of really like other movies, and there weren't a lot of other trailers, and I saw this and I thought this was funny. And I thought chat would like it, and they did. um Back to the Future is one of my favorites. And if we never got another one, that's okay because the first 3 were perfect. It's just a nice little slice. And if they ever did a 4, they could only do it if Michael was in it. If they make a Back to the Future 4 and Michael J. Fox is not in it, I refuse to see it unless he was going to film it and then, God forbid something happened and he wasn't able to because he didn't, he wasn't safe. Maybe the disease progressed and he just couldn't act anymore, like he couldn't vocalize. And even if that was the case, if they just pulled the Val Kilmer, right? Val Kilmer scenes as Iceman in Top Gun 2 were so freaking powerful, and I applaud them for doing it because, you know, he was going through throat cancer. He could barely speak. And even if he had if he had not delivered a single voice line, his presence was so warranted and needed and so incredible. And him and Tom were perfect together. And I applaud how much strength and courage it took for him to go on screen like that, because it's not something that people, a lot of, you know, are willing to do, to show themselves in that vulnerable state. um and that I teared up during that scene because I knew what he was going through in real life, and I just knew that it was not easy for him to film those scenes. It probably caused him pain, and it was probably, you know, situation where he could have easily said no and no one would have thought the lesser of him. But I think so much more because he said yes. Um, but yeah, if they ever made four and it didn't have Michael J. Fox's involvement in any way, no, not happening. I would not watch it. I would be so disappointed. And I think Steven would never do it. I honestly think Steven would never do it because I feel like they had a relationship where he would feel like it would be a betrayal to who Michael is, his character, who he was as Marty McFly. Um, I just don't feel like it would be a thing. But if they included him, you know, that would be amazing. I will end this video. I just want to go to that scene. This right here. This is a really good scene. And if this was AI generated and they just made the trailer and they didn't have input to make this, dude, we're in trouble.
Possible. What would you do? What would you change? Travel.
Dad, I found the Doc's diary.
If time travel were possible, what would you do? What would you change?
That's just a really, and like this was I don't remember exactly what show this was from, but that sentiment is so strong, right? If anything was possible, what would you do? What would you change, right? And I think it would be an interesting conversation to have with him. If he could, right? Would he change having Parkinson? Like, would he change that? And I think his answer would be no, unless he could cure it for everybody. He wouldn't just cure it for himself if everyone else was still afflicted with it, because that has been his biggest thing. Is he's been the forerunner. The amount of research that has been done for this disease, because of his fundraising, because he's been so out in the open with it and shown people the struggles. Like, he's really pushed that field forward, and I really do hope they find a cure for it. Um, and you know, like, it's crazy that it really takes somebody in the public eye to be afflicted and to show the world for other people to care. And I hate that. Like, that's crazy that we're still even at this point where we struggle to get funding to find medical cures or to like try and find medicine that helps ease their pains or can, you know, help lessen their symptoms, where like it's privately funded, but yet we have all of this government funding that we waste in things that we shouldn't. We spend gajillions of dollars on things that don't matter when we could be doing stuff that could be so impactful. But I just wanted to end it here. I love Michael. Maybe this is less about a Dadam reacts and just me enjoying the thought that I would ever get to see Michael in a movie again, because I would love it. I would love it, and it would do so much for my soul. um, but yeah, let me know what you think. I know this kind of went off the rails. I know, chat. I just wanted to see Michael J. Fox again. You know, I'm gonna watch the Back to the Future movies now. I just have to. Um, let me know if you would like to see a Back to the Future 4. Would you be down for the cause? Um, More importantly, let me know if they made a Back to the Future 4. If Michael J. Fox wasn't in it, would you watch it? And why? What would be your justification? Just, oh, it's a movie. I don't care about these things. They And that's okay if you're that person where a movie isn't about the people inside of it and you can just watch any movie anytime. I mean, that's cool that you can disassociate. I can't. 100% I can't. Tell you right off the bat, man, I can't. I wish I could. I'd probably enjoy more movies or I'd be able to enjoy things more, but I can't disassociate sometimes, and that's to my discredit, or that's something I've tried to work on in my life. But for a while there, I would not watch a movie if certain people were in it because I hated the way they act, or I'd met them in real life and hated who they were. So, um, I know that. I mean, that's part of movies for some people. Is it's less about the movie and about more about who's in it. Um, but yeah, let me know what you think or what your thought would be uh, if Michael J. Fox was not in a Back to the Future. I know this was AI generated, and you know they're just trying to sell it. But I'm curious as well. I wonder if this ever helps. If there's all those fake trailers on YouTube, right? And I watch them all the time because I enjoy them. But I wonder if it's something like this ever helps push it forward. Where let's see how many views this one got. So give this guy a follow, KH Studio. This is cool, right? All credits go to him. If you don't want me to put this, you want me to take it down, just let me know. I'll take it down, whatever. But he's got 205, thousand subscribers. Shit's got 4.6 million views. Okay. This damn AI trailer almost had me there for a second. Um, I wonder if anyone like in the studio somehow saw this, right? Or it somehow came across their desk and they went, you know what? 4.6 million people watched a fake trailer on the premise of a movie. Maybe we should explore this. And that's where I love like fandom, right? And I have heard in the past where like there were actors that weren't going to be in a sequel, but then they had a conversation with the fan on the side of the street and they realized how much the fans loved the characters. And honestly, I think Bruce Willis was that person where he didn't want to do a movie, but then he had a conversation with a fan about being in another Die Hard movie about like John McClane and stuff like that. And oh my god, like it's heartbreaking to know that we'll never see act again. Like it's I just really want this movie to get made, and I really want to see Michael J. I want to see him in a I want to see him in a movie where he plays a big part, and I know that's a lot to ask. One of my favorite actors. And I was young when I was watching him, and my mom really loved Michael Fox, so maybe that's why I have a kinship to him as well because I watched all of his movies. My mom loved his movies, and so it makes me have a bigger nostalgia because my mom had were but we had movies, and so it is what it is. But I probably said it already, and I do it all the time. But drop a like, subscribe. Most importantly, do time for somebody else.